Hey there, fellow empath. Have you ever wondered what will happen and what happens when a narcissist sees how strong and powerful you become on the inside? What they will do? Have you ever wondered what happens? Because most likely, if you're watching this video, you have already embarked on your healing journey on realizing your power within, and you are tired of being surrounded by manipulative people, by narcissistic people who always wear masks, who are not honest, who are not genuine with their feelings, and you are tired of experiencing all of that. And that's why you've embarked on that healing journey, and maybe you're in a position right now in which your relationships with others start shifting. And so some people leave your life, other people enter, and it's like you don't tolerate any longer narcissistic people. And so it's really curious what happens, right, when a narcissist sees how strong and powerful you are. So that's why let us discuss in this video exactly what happens. That being the case, let's directly begin. I have actually prepared some notes that I want to contemplate with you. So please be patient and let us discuss this together, because it's a really curious topic and it's almost always the same. Like when a narcissist starts seeing how powerful and strong you are, their reaction is almost always the same. But initially, it depends on whether you are dealing with a more covert, fragile, and vulnerable narcissists who are not really who are not really a master in their game, or whether you're dealing with a more overt and grandiose narcissist. Because these two types of narcissists, they're attracted to different virtuous qualities of you, and so they have a little bit of different dynamics of what they will do when they realize that they actually don't have any power over you. So let's start with the first one. The first one is the fragile and vulnerable covert narcissists. They're hidden, like they're under disguise, right? And so they're initially attracted to maybe your confidence, to your strength, to your goodwill, because you've already started healing. And these kind of narcissists, they're really good at hiding their inadequacies, their lack of integrity, like lack of connection between what they say and what they do. They're really good at hiding their shortcomings and their lack of moral compass. And so whenever they start seeing how strong you are, it's the moment when the victim inside of them will be reawakened, because before that they have been trying to be always the more dominant and controlling one. They have always tried to be on top of you, like to be the better one. But when they realize that you're actually strong and their manipulative tactics don't work, the gaslighting doesn't work anymore, right? They'll realize that they have become a victim, and so you'll be the perpetrator, you'll be the villain in that relationship. And this is the moment that they'll start blaming you for how you have hurt them. And this is like when you clearly start realizing and seeing how weak they are on the inside, actually, like for real. Because the perceived image that they have tried to overwhelm your consciousness with is completely different to how they feel on the inside. And when they see how strong you are, they'll start identifying more with that victimhood mentality of theirs that they have been hiding really well before that. And that's why this is when they'll start blaming you for all the bad things that you have done to them. This is like the more weaker narcissist. And so there is the other one now. The other one is the more overt type of narcissist, the one who is more grandiose, who want to show how better they are, and like in how in the different aspects of life, in the many different aspects of life, that they are better than you. And so initially this type of narcissist, they will be attracted to seeing how deeply, genuinely deeply loving, kind, decent, and good person you are, right? Because they're the exact opposite of that. They're always self-centered, completely egocentric. They're not ethnocentric. They don't care about others, and they'll be attracted to that opposition, to what they see inside of you. And but it's interesting, because the more overt, grandiose narcissists that are not hiding, they actually want to challenge you. They want to challenge all the good traits you have and all the virtuous traits you have, because for them it's something completely new. They don't have it's not natural for them to be loving, kind, caring, and a decent person. And when they see somebody like you, a more empathetic person who is also loving, kind, and decent, they want to challenge it because they don't believe that somebody like that is possible to exist. And it's really interesting because they'll challenge it, they'll be attracted to you, they want to challenge that until they realize that you are not so easily swayed, controlled, dominated, and manipulated. And when they realize that this is the case, when they realize how strong and powerful you are actually as an empath, then they want to retaliate. Then they'll use all of the tactics that they have learned to retaliate, to have their vengeance, right? And this is where like the strategies, this is where we will get to what strategies they start to use. Because ultimately, when you're dealing with narcissists, it's really crucial to understand one single simple thing. All of them, like all narcissists, they need dominance and control over others for them to feel secure and powerful. Because they're always trying to prove to themselves how powerful they are in relation to others. Since they don't have that power from within, it is always like a status thing. It's always like the more people see them as powerful and the more they can manipulate the perception of others about themselves, the more powerful they will feel. But on the inside, they lack that power and security. In fact, they're really insecure and they have a lot of inadequacies and shortcomings that the covert narcissist will try to hide, while the overt narcissist will try to, in a way, dominate. They're still hiding it, but they'll try to emphasize a lot on their positive traits and also on your positive traits until the moment they realize how your virtuous traits, character traits, are genuine and theirs are not. And when they start realizing that, again, this is when the retaliation actually starts happening. This is when they wanna take vengeance. And it's really interesting because what they will do is that it's like, everything is good. Like everything is good until the moment they realize that they can get their needs met by you. So because they, obviously, narcissists just see you as a tool in their disposal. And it's like, if they get status from you, if your image makes them look good around their friends, if your social image, if who you are makes them look good around their friends, everything is good. They're getting their needs met. They're getting their supply. But when this is no longer, when this happens no more, and when they see you as being strong and powerful, this is when, again, they'll try to do everything in their power to gain their control back. And this is where the retaliation begins. This is when their inner ego, their wounded ego, will feel really threatened and scared. And when it feels really threatened and scared, they'll do really everything in their power. And it's like the worst strategy that they'll use. We'll get to it in a moment. But before that, I just want to state again that it's like, if you are better than them, they will feel deeply scared and deeply insecure, and they want to gain deeper control. And when their gaslighting doesn't work anymore, because now you start to realize that it's like they're trying to manipulate the way you perceive them, because they're scared that if you are better than them, they lack the dominance and control over you. And so if they lack the dominance and control over you, they start seeing themselves as weak on the inside. And since they've been running away from those feelings all their life, they'll start using the more deeper and like the more hard to see and the more complex control strategies. And one of them is that, and I have a really funny story to illustrate that, but one of them is that when they realize that they can't control you anymore, this is the moment that they will start exerting control over the people around you, over your social circles, over your friends. Actually, they will start exerting control over how your friends and your close ones and your acquaintances perceive you. because if they can exert control over that, then they have control over you. And if they have control over you, again, they'll feel dominant in relation to you. And this is how they'll feel secure and powerful from within. So this is when they realize that the gaslighting doesn't work anymore, right? And so when it doesn't work, they'll start using it on your friends, which is really funny because this is when you see what type of a person they really are, and like how useless and how impossible it is actually to try to save them. Because I know, as an empath who is deeply loving and kind and caring, you want to save them, you really want to help them. But this is the moment when you realize how impossible that is, because you cannot really save somebody who is not willing to save themselves. And I know I've repeated that in many different videos, but my friends, it's so crucial to understand it, because unless you understand it, you always compromise yourself for a narcissist. And this is actually exactly what type of behavior will keep them perpetuating and attracted and to keep you attracting them in your life. So let me share with you this funny story I had from my life when I was still surrounded by narcissistic friends, actually. So I was co-living with this friend of mine who was the exact opposite of me. And I actually decided consciously that I want to live with them because I realized how much I could learn from them, seeing how different they are to me. Because this friend of mine, he was really narcissistic, and I was really empathetic. And so eventually, like, we were supporting each other, we were helping with each other's growth, but he was always trying to be on top, meaning that he was always trying to be the better one, the more productive one, the more committed one, the one who is always earning more money, who is always more liked than me in our social circles and in the people in our mutual friends. And it was really funny because throughout that time I was really focused on doing the inner work. I was meditating a lot, I was journaling a lot. Really, I was committed on that, and I like doing it for, I don't know, 2 to 4 hours per day. And I was doing freelance back then, freelance copywriting, and I was just earning enough money that I would need to cover my rent and things like that. I wasn't passionate about my work. And so he was trying to control his productivity by trying to control me, which was really funny because it was like, there was this one event that I remember in which, for example, since we were co-living together, right? And so he was also doing freelance, and he was working for some clients, doing some marketing or copywriting or something like that. And he wasn't feeling productive enough from within himself. And I was meditating in my room. And then eventually, one time he just entered my room really angry, like really pumped up. And he was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you not working? How could we live? Like, how could we earn enough money?" And I'm like, "I've already earned the money I need to pay the rent, my part of the rent, right? So why do you need me to be productive? This is your own problem if you're not productive." This is the moment when he realized he was losing control. And this is the exact moment when he started actually trying to control how other people around me, like how my friends and my acquaintances were perceiving me, so that he was always the cooler one, so that he was always the one who had more status. And I'm not saying that, by the way, to blame him. In fact, I'm really grateful for our friendship because thanks to him, I learned what is commitment. Before that, I was really chaotic in my life. And thanks to him, because he was always committed to being right and always committed to meeting, to basically getting to his own end of what he was committed to, what he was pursuing in life, no matter what. He was not willing to compromise himself at all. And since I was the exact opposite, this is how I learned what the energy of commitment was from him. So I'm really grateful about him for that. I'm really grateful that I had him in my life for that. But getting back to the story, when he realized that he didn't have control over me, he started controlling the perception of my friends about me. And for example, I was always the one who was having deeper emotional connection with my friends, and I was always being vulnerable, and this was something natural for my relationships. And I really valued that. Like, it was a really important priority of mine in my relationships, in my friendships. And he didn't have that in his relationships. Like, always his relationships were more surface level. He was always trying to be the cooler one. He was trying to, for example, when he liked a girl or something, he was trying to remember everything that she liked, so that he could always, in a way, control how she feels. But he wasn't doing it because he was really caring for her. He was doing it because he always wanted to be the more powerful, right? And so, but he was always lacking emotional depth and connection in his relationships. And I remember there was one time in which I had friends at home, and we were living together, and I was having these really deep conversations with one friend of mine, who was also a guy. And like, we were just contemplating, we were just talking about roadblocks and problems we were each facing in our lives, but we were going on a really deep, vulnerable level. So we were talking about limiting beliefs, we were trying to support each other, we were sharing stories of how we were overcoming other limiting areas of our lives that we had, so that we could support each other this way. And he was just looking from the outside, and then he was like, why is Danny so emotional? And he was really judgmental about that. And eventually, afterwards, he started. And this is the funny part of the story, and I will be really vulnerable here. But he started judging me as being gay for being connected with my feelings and being really vulnerable with my friends. Because with his friend, he was always like being. All the conversation he had were really surface level, and he never got to any emotional depth. Because was talking a conversation that was emotional, that in which he needed to be vulnerable, he perceived that as a weakness. And since he didn't allow himself to be weak around others, he always needed to be the more powerful one. When he saw me that I had this emotional connection with my friends, of which he was jealous, then he started, in a way, trying to control how my friends see me, and trying to ask them whether they thought I was a gay or not, so that he wanted to prove to himself that he was the cooler one, right? He was the more, like, the more friendlier one, the one who has greater connection with my friends. And it was a really funny story. But I share this story just to illustrate how this works, like how this principle works, that when they lose control over you, when narcissists lose control over you, they will start exerting control over your friends, over the perceptions of how your friends see you. Because this is the moment when they realize that they can't do anything, like their strategies are not working. And so another thing that is interesting is that if they have the chance, they will always pinpoint any mistakes, any shortcomings, and any contradictory statements, any limits that they notice within you, and move them over your head. They always emphasize them. And if they have the chance, they will take the light in pinpointing and holding you on your past mistakes. They'll hold your past against you, because again, they want to prove to themselves that they're just better than you. This is everything that they want to do at all times. And so this is some of the strategies that they will do, some of the things that they will do when they realize that, when they see that you are actually becoming powerful and self-sufficient and self-reliable on your own, and like you don't need them anymore for you to depend on them. So it's really, I just wanted to share all what happens, because maybe it's something that you're currently experiencing. If you've made the decision to let go of any controlling and narcissistic people in your life, and if you've decided to connect with your boundaries. And so, my friend, if you're actually going through that right now, and you find it challenging, and you still find that you're surrounded by abusive relationships, I would highly encourage you that you check out this free training I have, in which I show you, I teach you the 3 phases that you need to master, and that you go through until you surround yourself only by conscious, uplifting, and meaningful relationships. Because these are the 3 phases that I've discovered that people go through by working with more than 50 people individually. So they are really general 3 phases, but they can be applied personally in your life. And so in this training, you'll see what is the exact type of inner work that you need to do and how it looks, so that you get to that stage in which you no longer have any abusive relationships around you. So yeah, I just wanted to invite you on that training. You can check it out in the description below. And also, like, just say how grateful I am that, well, you've watched this video until now and you are doing the work. Because if you have clicked on this video and if you have watched it until now, it's like it's totally a sign that you have started doing the inner work and you've started healing. And thank you my friend. This is so beautiful. This is such a powerful work, and it has such intense influence over so many other people, not just you. Like when I've committed to doing the inner work and to healing, I realized that a year later, my mother got into it, my sister got into it. And I was before that, I was trying to persuade them to get into inner work and healing, and it wasn't working. But when I just committed to doing that inner work for myself, many people, not only my family, but many other people, friends, also got interested into that work. Why? Because other people are just a reflection of who we are. And when we become committed to living and experiencing healthy, uplifting, and mutually beneficial relationships, this is what other people around us will also do. Because it's like this is what we are committed to on the inside now, and this will, of course, reflect on the outside. So my friend, thank you for starting to do that inner work. It's such a great sign for you. And if you're fully tired again of experiencing any abusive relationships again, check out a training. And if you want to connect, if you need help with that, and if you want to, in the next 3 to 4 months, completely let go of any toxic and abusive relationships so that you can surround yourself only by supportive and mutually beneficial and uplifting relationships, you can also schedule a free discovery session after watching the training that I just shared about. And in this session, we can create a really personalized strategy plan for you for exactly what you do and what you pass through, like how we can apply these 3 phases in which about which you understand by going through a training personally and specifically for your life, so that within the next 3 to 4 months, you don't experience any abusive and manipulative relationships anymore. So yeah, if this is something important for you, I highly encourage you to do that. That being the case, my friend, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to go deeper into the dynamics between empaths and narcissists, I also highly suggest you check out this video in which you realize what is the one truth, that the one belief that keeps you attracting narcissists over and over again. And when you realize what this belief is and start taking responsibility for it, it's like it's just a matter of time until you no longer tolerate these kind of relationships. That being the case, thank you so much for watching. I trust you found this video to be helpful. If this is the case, like it, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the Soulful Relationships channel, and I would love to see you around. Thank you so much for watching again. See you around, my friend. I love you. Bye-bye.